Hi, this is Dr. Francis again. Today we are going to talk about resource groups. This. So resource groups helps you to logically group your resources together. Of course, each resource in Microsoft Azure needs to have a single resource group. So it needs to be in a resource group. You can group your resources and put similar resources together, such as resources that belong to dev environment and resources that belong to prod environment. All resources in a single resource group need to have the same life cycle. So you need to be able to update them together, delete, or even deploy them. So you need to put resources that have similar lifespan or similar life cycle together. Resource groups can also help you control which resources are available to different types of users. And even in terms of billing, you know, paying for each resource group can help you put each resource to the right place so that the right person would be billed for it. So in general, it is used to group resources. And then there are different reasons for grouping resources. It could be, for this different kinds of environment. It could be for billing. It could be, to control or kind of limit access or protect your resources. So these are some of the general uses of resource groups. So in this video, we are going to actually explore how to create resource groups and how to work with resource groups. Um, Essentially, what we're going to be doing just as a practice is to create resource groups and create resources in them. And we're going to create two resource groups, one for dev, one for prod, and we're going to create resources in each of those resource groups. But we're going to kind of place resources in the wrong resource group. So we're going to place a resource that is meant for the dev in the prod environment or in the prod resource group, and then we will try to migrate it back, to the rightful place where it should be. And we're going to use tags to determine which resource belong to which of the groups. And tags again is a good way to label your resources, making sure that they have clear information about what they are for. So let's jump in. So to create a resource group, go to here and then go to resource groups and just come here, click the add. And yeah, that's it. Add the name of the resource group. And I'm going to add mine. So the name is dev group. This is for the dev environment. And I'm going to set the location as West Europe. And without wasting time, I could just review and create the resource group. So that's for this, and it is created almost instantly. I'm going to create yet another one by coming here and clicking the add, doing exactly the same thing. So add the name of the resource group and then choose location. Again, I'll choose the West Europe and then review and create again. So like we said before, I'm going to go to each of the resource groups and I'm going to create some resources. In the dev resource group, I'm going to create the virtual machine. So you can search here for any resource that you want to create. I mean, if you can say it here, but I'm okay with this and I'm just going to add it quickly. So the resource group remains the dev group. And now I just need to add the name of the machine here. So this is the name of the VM and the region remains Western Europe. I'm not going to go into much detail about creating virtual machines because I already made a video about that. And if you want to see how you can create virtual machine in detail, please check the video. It will be in the link below. Here, enter your username and your password. I'll do that quickly. All it says, this is my username and my password. And yeah, I'm going to leave pretty much everything at default. And I'm just going to go to tags because then this is another thing we want to do here. I want to go to tags. In tags, I want to specify the environment and I want to specify which environment it is for. So I have the environment set as development, and with that, I'm ready to review and create. And that's it. I'll hit review and create and then I hit create. So now the resource is created. We can go to resource to view what we've created, the VM. And the important thing to note here is that it's in the dev group and that the environment is rightly tagged. That's our concern right now. So I'll hop off and then create the remaining resources. Regarding the second resource group, I'm just gonna go here. What we want to do is to create a resource which is rightfully meant for dev and then in this prod group. So how do we know that it was meant for dev? Because we are going to use the tags. This is another important feature that you need to take note of. You can actually use the tags to label your resources. So now I'm going to add a storage account in here. So if you don't know what storage account is in detail, don't worry, we will cover that at some point too. So, and I'll create a storage account. It's going to be in the prod group, even though it's meant for the dev group. I'll quickly name it. So it has to be unique. You can see, not just within your environment, it has to be like generally unique. I'm happy with this, and I'm probably just going to get to tags quickly, leaving every other thing at default. So again, I'm going to tag it correctly. So the environment is going to rightfully be development, but you can see that we wrongly placed it in the prod. So the essence is so that we will see how we can move it to the right place. So now the resource is created and deployment is complete. If we want to see, we can see it here. And we have the right tag, but we are in the wrong, resource group. So I can search my resources by tags. So if I come here and I click tags, I'm able to filter based on, for example, development, which is already here. And then these are resources that are, within that that are classified, as so. I can go to the VM, for example, and the tag remains the development. And if I go back, you see, I have the storage account here. Even though it's on the prod resource group, it showed up here because it has the tag development. Again, you can see that it's here, development. So the next task is to move this storage account to where it should rightfully belong. So to do that, I'm going to go to resource groups. I already know that I wrongly placed it here, so I'll go there, and I should, let me just open it up. And you can see here, the same attributes, but the important thing here is that we want to move it. We go to move and, move to another resource group. Yes, you can see there that it's possible to move to a different subscription. So we have the resource groups that we can move it to. So now we want to move it to dev because that's where it rightfully should be. And I check this and I say, okay. So we see that in a minute it's going to actually complete the process and it will, relocate to where we want it to be. Now, a quick thing to note is that not all resources are movable. It's not every resource that you can move. In fact, if you were doing this using PowerShell or CLI, it would have been important for you to actually verify that or validate the move to make sure the move is possible. So you do that with Microsoft Azure REST API, has this validate move operation that you can call and to actually, validate the move before you actually do it. But in using the portal, this is done automatically. So you don't need to worry about that. But if you're using the PowerShell or the CLI, then you need to kind of call this API and just verify that what you're doing is actually movable. Resources such as virtual machine and virtual networks and storage accounts, as you see here, can be moved. Bear in mind that if you're moving a virtual machine, there are a few things to note. All resources associated with that virtual machine must as well be moved, for it to actually work properly. And, VMs with certificates in Azure Key Vault can't be moved between subscriptions. So there are a few things to note when you're moving these kind of things. Great. So it's the moving resources is completed now, as you can see here. So to confirm that, let's actually go to those two resource groups and see what we've got. So this is the dev resource group. We moved from the prod to dev. And let's see if it's actually here. Yes, it is here. The dev storage GRP1, it's the storage account that we created earlier on. And now let's check the prod to see if it's disappeared. So again, there's nothing here. That's it. That's how you can move resources from one resource group to another. And also, we've illustrated how you can use the tags to actually label your resources so that you easily identify this type of mistakes because it often happens. You can switch things, you can mistakenly create stuff where you don't want them to be. And if you use the right tags, you're able to identify these and possibly move them to where they need to be. And that's it for now. I'll see you on the next one. Consider subscribing. Thank you.